Hey everybody, it's Tammy Van Hollander, and I am so excited to be here today with Cara
Yep.
Gruhala and Rachel Alvatar. And you guys, I wanted to reach out to both of you because you started the tele-play therapy group on Facebook, and I was like, okay, trying to get all these great resources. And just first of all, Cara, the fact that you thought of this group and you could tell us all a little bit about how it just exploded and the need for resources and what came out of this group. And it's just been such a resource. So I'm doing these videos because it's trying to give different resources for clinicians. And what you guys have done in creating this Facebook group has, I mean, it's been massive and international. So Cara, maybe you could first start, and then Rachel, you can just hop on of how you got involved with it as well.
So I'm kind of a Facebook group, like a therapy Facebook group hoarder. So I'm in like probably 8 different ones. And I was seeing people talking about, kind of seeing this telehealth coming at us. And I saw a lot of the play therapy colleagues like scrambling, like we weren't sure what to do because we didn't have any kind of model in this. And I kept thinking like somebody's going to start a group and I'm going to join that group and then we're going to talk about it. And I didn't see a group start. And I thought, well, I'll just throw it out there. Like, probably, I don't know, like maybe like 50 people want to talk to me about this because I would like to collaborate with colleagues. And so I start this group. Rachel was like one of the first people to contact me. And I'm so glad that she did because now I've got to know like all the wonderful expertise that she has in this area. She's been such a great member of our admin team. But yeah, so we're sitting there and we're just kind of watching the numbers and like, I think it was like that night, like I started on Saturday, like that evening by bedtime, we had like 500 members. And I was like, okay. And then like the next day it was like 1,000 members. And so we've tried to be really flexible. When I have presented like at some of the state conferences and things, I've found that people really like to have something tangible. And so I thought, well, we'll just kind of start out with like some small tangible items that might give people some peace. And I also was just thinking about the state of the world right now and how we're kind of dealing with this scarcity mentality and people are grabbing things and toilet paper and we're not having the connections that we're used to. And so I just imagined this group of, you know, free, low cost resources. So nobody had to feel that scarcity. That would be like one place of abundance that people could go to. So yeah, we are at 21,000 members as of today, I think. People all over the world. I have had some great conversations. I've jumped in a couple of the support groups that have been out there and talked to people from around the world about how things are going. Like I am just so pleasantly, shockingly surprised at how well this has gone and all the people connecting. I love that. And I have to give a huge shout out to our admin team because these are all people that have volunteered. So we have Rachel, Deb, Kim, Jillian, Anna, Molly, and Rebecca. They have literally given hours of free time to moderating, to we have lots of group team decisions on how we want to do things. The group is kind of shifting as we move forward. Like we're having all kinds of conversations about what that's going to look like and how it's changing. So,
And I think it's really important, that piece of it, because we don't know the behind the scenes and how much work you guys are doing and how many posts that you have to go through and get approved, besides for having your own practices, besides for having your own families, and besides for just dealing with your own stress of the whole pandemic. So just, we're so grateful for you guys for that piece, because it is a lot of work.
I will let Rachel speak to some of her expertise here, Dr. Rachel. So,
But I think you had said at one point in time there was one new post every 4 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah, which is so exciting that there are so many resources that are being provided. And I know that some of what's occurring now, the elephant in the room is the divide that is starting to be created in the community. And I really hope that we can all band together and stop that from happening. I think that it's so imperative that we have competence and that people are trained properly and that this is not used as, a marketing tool or a way to make money. I think that so many people from around the world have shared an abundance of resources for free and of course, people also need to make money. So I do get that. I'm not knocking anyone for that, of course. But I think that there is more of this divide and this concern. And I think if we're able to have more compassionate conversations and connect more versus fighting, for lack of a better word, it would be very helpful. And I think also along those lines, making sure you're taking care of yourself. Self-care always has to come up. I think it's so easy to get sucked into our own trauma responses. We all are holding on to a tremendous amount of traumatic stress right now, whether our own, our clients, those around us, our communities, the world. I mean, it's a lot. We all feel it in a different way. I know everyone is just so full of a lot of pain and intensity. And so I think it's important that we all just continue to recognize that and do what we can to tend to our mind and bodies so that we can continue to be the amazing community that we are and continue to guide so many people, towards their own healing and comfort.
Yeah, I think that's super important. And, when you're talking about this division, and maybe you could just talk a little bit more about the division, because some people may say, well, what is a division? And I think it's important to really talk about that piece of it, so people can understand that and really be, I think, empathetic of it, because this is a time where there has to be so much kindness and compassion. And when we're not getting that back, and I know that your page and all of us, right? It's all about creating this safe, nurturing space that we're able to talk without feeling, any negativity back at us or criticism.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think initially when we aren't really familiar with what we're doing, we want to grab onto whatever we can. I fully own that. When I first started learning how to do therapy, I had no idea what I was doing. And I felt very insecure and I was worried I was going to screw my client's life up. We can all laugh about that now, but connection and attunement is of primary importance.
Right.
And I think that's the message throughout all of this. But ultimately, when I first started learning how to do therapy, I loved manualized treatments. I loved them because they were evidence-based, they were easy to research, and it was very tangible. And the more comfortable I became with what I was doing, the more I was able to release all of that and just be. And I know, Tammy, you had discussed with another person, I forget at this time, because you've been talking with amazing, amazing people, something along the lines of, I just blanked on my thought about the intervention. Oh, about just being, right? Like that. I think you were talking about
Marshall?
It was someone you were talking about just being.
Yeah, it's probably Marshall, one of his
Yes,
words of
I love
wisdom.
that one.
He's so wise.
That's probably what it was.
Marshall Lyles.
Yeah. And so ultimately, if we are holding on to, needing a particular intervention or a particular way to go about doing things because we're uncomfortable, there's nothing wrong with that. And it is also so important to just reflect on where you are with your own theoretical orientation, your style, the interventions you're already using. And I think this is where the divide is coming, where there's a lot of, and I can't generalize, right? So I don't want to generalize, but this is just my own perception.
Right.
So we'll preface that maybe some of the more seasoned clinicians in general feel more comfortable with that connection and that attunement. And even if the platform is unfamiliar, those core principles, those therapeutic powers of play, the core just therapeutic principles in general come out a lot easier and more comfortably and confidently. And I think people who are not as seasoned, are not as comfortable, which is normal, might feel a little bit more panicked and want to grab onto all these directive interventions, which again, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Just make sure that it aligns with your particular approach. And I think that at the core, again, from my perspective, is what's going on with this divide. And I think if we all band together and support one another so that everyone can feel more confident and competent, that we will thrive as a community.
Yeah. Okay. Rachel, thank you. Yes,
sorry.
Cara.
I was just going to say, I've seen, I've really appreciated some of the leaders in our industry and our group and, making some statements and giving us some like ethical things to think about. And, I made a video the other night about just kind of opening back some of my dusty textbooks back on the back of the shelf and going back to some of the basics. And One of the things that keeps sticking in my brain is that's going to be so different for everyone, depending on their client, depending on the situation, is like going back to Landra's 6 tenets of that first one, just being safety. Like, can we truly create an environment of safety? And it is so different doing this via telehealth than it is in our offices, because we have total control there. And via telehealth, there's so many things in the child's environment that are out of our control. So some people could absolutely say, yeah, the safety is there. My child has a safe home environment. They have parents that are supporting them. They have the things that they need. And some of our kids don't. So that's just a really tough one to navigate right now.
Yeah, yeah, Cara, you're so right. Well, thank you guys so much. And it's so helpful. And I can't thank you guys enough. And Cara, in terms of having this group, Dr. Rachel, for you to be on top of it and doing the admin stuff. And I just, it's just, we're just all needing support right now, and just being able, we need to really be able to hold that space for each other. And I think that the Facebook group that you have created really does do that. And you're making sure that you're keeping, as Dora Koff would say, the safe and protected space. And that's really the most important thing that we're doing within all of our work, is creating a safe and protected space. So thank you guys so much for coming on, and thank you for all of the work that you do. I'm so grateful.
Thank you for all the work you do.
Yes, I love your series.
Oh,
And
good.
you're embracing the connection that we're talking about, and I love it. It's so wonderful. Thank you for being such a great leader and model for all of us.
Oh, thanks, Rachel. Oh, thanks, Cara. I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.
See you later.